Hi everyone, it's Nicole Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be creating a slim comic strip superhero card using brand new products from the Mama Elephant March 2021 release. We've got, I think, 4 different new products here, and then we're going to even use 3 previously released slim style dies to build our overall scene. We're going to start by doing some no-line coloring on Bristol Smooth cardstock of these adorable little superhero agenda characters. So we've got some dogs, chicks, bunny, a cat, really cute little critters, and they all have like superhero capes. The theme this month is all kind of around like superheroes and ninjas and the comic strip type of die backgrounds that really work great for the little agenda size of characters. I am doing my no-line coloring. I stamped these with the Fawn Jellyfish no-line coloring ink. This is currently the ink I use probably 99% of the time for no-line coloring. And of course, with Zigs, the Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers, I always use Bristol Smooth cardstock as I feel that it gives the best coloring results. I will tell you that you're going to see me color in like the eyes and the feet. The feet don't really matter because I'm not coloring over a colored part of the image, but the eyes, I suggest giving it a minute, letting that watercolor marker dry just a bit so that the eyes don't bleed. It can happen. Even if you color them before, sometimes if you touch the tip of the marker to that black, it'll bleed. So I generally like to do it afterwards, but I would suggest waiting and doing it maybe a few minutes later or after you've colored in all of your critters. I had pretty good luck, but you're going to see here in a second, some of the critters got crossed out and had to be restamped and recolored. This is for a variety of reasons. It happens. I do not know what the deal was when I was coloring these guys, but I was having some issues. Like some of it was really good and some of it was really bad. And I always think it's good to just be honest that it does not always go according to plan. I had die cut all the components for the background. I had laid out all these little superhero critters, and I had this idea, and I'm stamping and coloring, and I did the chicks first. I have to admit that I definitely gravitate towards them. I like coloring them in. I don't know why. I just do. I think their cute little round bodies are adorable. These chicks that Mama Elephant have in several of their stamp collections are some of my very favorites. So I definitely went with them first. And then I started coloring in, I'm trying to think who I colored in next. But I didn't realize, so the chicks all just have a cape. They don't have an outfit. These are tiny images, and with a no-line ink, sometimes it's really hard to tell what certain things might be. And it wasn't until I started coloring another image that I realized that first cat that I colored over here is wearing a shirt. And I basically just colored the whole shirt the cat's fur. Now, yes, would it have been all right? I totally could have left it that way. It's fine. But I decided to go ahead and just restamp it. They are small. They do color pretty quickly. And once seen, it can't be unseen. You know what I'm saying? And I just was like, all I could see was, oh my gosh, you colored in the shirt, the fur color. And then the bunny that I had to cross out, that one was, the eyes bled into the face and it looked like Scary Bunny and it just wasn't good. So there was just no way to fix that. I'm a huge proponent that if you can fix it, fix it. There was no fixing those two things. I love this little puppy. I made him a little Dalmatian puppy holding a heart. I think that's fun. Just coloring in all these little capes and their outfits. Really cute and just a fantastic addition to the little agenda collection. There's nothing else to really say about that other than it's just an amazing addition. Mama Elephant really does kill it with these little agenda stamp sets. I know that they are one of my favorites in my collection. I love that they add to it, especially if you want to mix and match. You could for sure pull out, let's say, your dog little agenda stamp set, and you could have superhero dogs mixed in with your regular dog little agenda images for a really cute card design. So if you want to stick to maybe all one animal, one critter, same with the bears, same with the chicks or cats or bunnies. So definitely keep that in mind and mix and match, because I think you could really build some super sweet scenes. We're going to recolor our cat now. It'll be fine. I'm using brown, light brown. Just kind of color the paws and the face and the ears in. And then I like to go back in with my brown and kind of draw in some little stripes, a little mid-brown for our nose. And I was living on the edge. I figured I'd just go ahead and do it again. It worked out, thank goodness. And colored in the eyes and the whiskers with my black fine tip pen. We're going to do a little cape. I decided to go purple here. This marker is called blue, but I think when mixed with lilac, it gives you a really nice dark purple color. One of the things you need to keep in mind with your markers, sometimes the colors can be misleading, and sometimes when mixed with other colors, they will give you a completely different look. I find that with my Copic markers as well, that I tend to like some blues that have that violet undertone to them to be used as purples better than I actually like purples. And it's just a personal preference type of thing. For our bunny, we did a little light gray and the blender, pale pink for the cheeks. I did go a little more colorful with this one. We're going to have a pink cape with dark pink and pale pink, and then we'll use turquoise green and green shadow for the shirt. And then the last critter we're going to do is the last dog, and I messed up his face again. I don't know. Some days it's just so hard to persevere. I don't know about you guys. Normally I would probably have walked away, but I really wanted to get this done. And so I did persevere, and I absolutely end up loving the card. But I was so annoyed because I hardly ever have a card where I am having to restamp this many images. I mean, sometimes the face thing happens with a black pen and it's okay. I mean, I don't mind recoloring one or something, but to have to recolor 3 images was just quite a lot. Now, I think the tricky thing is always lining up or figuring out which die works with which little character. But they do it, if you lay your dies over your stamped images, it's generally pretty easy to figure out and get it lined up. So that's going to be the next step, is taking our little superhero agenda dies, laying them over the stamped and colored images, and then of course die cutting for our scene. And I did die cut all of the elements for my scene off camera, and I did that first actually. We've got our new frame and then some background elements, and I'm gonna kind of show you what all I die cut here. I actually die cut that rectangle from the gray and green cardstock, and then did the border and the cityscape, and it's all going to be back behind this comic strip. Now, I did mine more as a scene, but you could definitely create an individual scene in each comic strip if you want to. We're going to start with this soft navy background. This is soft navy cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, and it's from the Slim Window Dressing Mama Elephant die collection. And I've got a little bit of this metallic starry colors watercolor that I've added water to, And I just want it to be a night scene that has lots of stars in the sky. So I'm tapping this all over the surface of my background. Normally, I probably would have preferred to have done this first so it could have sat and dried while I was working on coloring in my images, but it will dry pretty quickly, and I have some other things to do for building the scene, so we'll just go ahead and set that aside to dry while we ink up a couple of the other images. Then from the Mama Elephant Slim Film City die collection, I have die cut the cityscape from Simon Says Stamp Slate Gray cardstock, and we're going to just deepen and darken the edges a little bit with some Black Soot Distress Oxide ink. I didn't want to die cut this from black, but I want it to have a little bit deeper, darker tone. The same is going to go for our landscape here that was die cut from some green cardstock. And this die is from the Mama Elephant Slim Card Basics. So all dies that work with the slimline style, which is fantastic. I love that there's enough in the collection now that you can really start to mix and match and build some really fun things. Now, all that ink on my glass work surface, I want to make sure that I get rid of that so it doesn't transfer to any of my images. And we're going to go ahead and pop all these little guys out. Look how cute they are. And then I'm going to show you kind of my process where I'm laying everything out and getting an idea of where I think things might go. That may change, that's totally fine, but I need to get an idea for how many sentiments that I want to add to my card. Not only am I going to use this Yay from the Slim comic strip, but there's several of those different thought bubbles in that, but I'm also going to stamp some phrases as well. And I die cut the Yay from red and black cardstock, and then I backed the red thought bubble with foam adhesive, and I'm inlaying the letters in black, and I'm just going to deepen and darken the edges of that with a little black ink as well. So it's kind of a more prominent greeting maybe, and you could really just fill each one of these with a different one of those thought bubbles if you don't want to stamp any. So here's where I'm laying everything out and kind of just getting an idea. A, do I have enough superheroes? B, is there going to be enough room to kind of mix and match some sentiments? Because I want it to have that comic strip vibe where there's thought bubbles in each section. From the brand new Mama Elephant Comic Sayings stamp set, I am going to stamp several phrases, in fact 4. One of these is going to have 2 phrases together. I incorporated You Did It and Congratulations together, and then Your Super Duper is actually from the Little Superhero Agenda. That stamp set has 4 phrases or sentiments in it, and they're all the same font, which is really great. So I'm using I Heart You, You Did It, Congratulations, You're Super Duper, and So Proud of You for an encouragement style of card. I like that with superheroes. I mean, you can do anything. And I also do want to mention this because I had last month when I did the little agenda cards, which I will link to that here at the end of the video. These images work fantastic for boy-themed cards, which I think is something that is so lacking out there in the card making world, is really good products that work for boys. And I just notice it a lot because, and even with myself, I tend to be drawn to the more feminine things, and I think that's probably pretty normal, but I love seeing these superhero things that work for boys and girls. Definitely just is so amazing. And like I said, I do love that the style is so consistent and works back with things they have already released. Now, there is another new die collection called Let's Chat, which is full of every size thought bubble that you could, I mean, all these, they're tiny, so I guess they're not every size, but all these tiny thought bubbles that would, work fantastic with comic sayings or other small sentiments, but really versatile, fantastic set. I really, really love this. I stamped everything with black ink on white cardstock, and then I am going to die cut them, and then just kind of double checking before I commit to laying everything out. And you're going to notice in the finished card, I definitely changed things around a little bit, moved things around before adding those finishing details. So the one thing about my background panel is it doesn't fit exactly behind this frame. So I actually laid down or just removed the backing paper from the top first, and I'm going to slide my background underneath. Oops, I popped up my frame, it didn't stick. So I have double-sided adhesive around all four sides of this, but I've only removed it from the top. And then I'm going to line up my sky background with that top edge, and it's going to work really well. Just going to kind of make sure it's lined up. And I'm not going to worry too much about the sides, and I'll show you why here in a minute. And then I've got my cityscape and landscape, and we're going to line those up with the bottom edge, and that way it will completely fill the inside of this comic strip. And then I'm just going to use, I like to use the Spellbinder's tool and one sharp tip to pull up an edge of the backing paper. I know I'm off camera, I'm sorry. And I just kind of pulled it up halfway, and I'm going to press down, and then you can just pull out these once it's lined up perfectly and press it down in place. One thing to note about this is I think it looks a little funny. So I did die cut the frame 2 more times from black cardstock, adhering them one on top of another. And this is going to give it a much more substantial look, and it makes it all even with the layers of the background. So we have one frame in the starry sky, another frame in the cityscape, the last frame and the landscape. Does that make sense? I hope. So it just gives it so much more of this fantastic substantial look, and it also evens out the scene really nice. Let's attach our yay to our scene. So some things are going to be adhered directly to the card base, and some will be popped up. And I'm gluing down like the little "you did it, congratulations," and then "yay" is underneath that. And I'm actually going to move that down just a little bit. I think I like it there a little bit better, not quite up so at the tippy top of our frame. And then I did put some adhesive on the back of my thought bubble, and we're going to glue our little superhero chick up here. Still not super happy with my placement. And now I'm gluing my critters down. So it's just a lot of assembly at this point, moving things around, getting it the way you want it to look. I really love this for an encouragement style card. I just think it's very, very fun. For the puppy holding the heart, I of course wanted to use the "I heart you" sentiment. We're going to pop that thought bubble up. Go ahead and glue him down. And one thing to note as well, I made sure and didn't put like 2 critters per comic strip section. Does that make sense? I hope. In the first one I did 1, in the second 3, and then in the third and the fourth they each have 2. And that was very purposeful. I like when things are a little offset and not super matchy-matchy. I think it's a lot more interesting to look at. So I made sure to kind of do it that way. We're going to pop up the So Proud of You, and I think we'll pop up your Super Duper. All the critters are glued directly to the card base itself. Once everything here is adhered, I did feel like we need to dress it up a little bit. It needs a little embellishing to really make the card shine. I'm going to grab some great little Trinity Stamps confetti-like little pieces here. So we've got like the moon and stars. I wanted to have a little moon up above the cityscape. We're going to have then some like little silver star confetti as well. And then a little red heart to put in the heart, I heart you thought bubble. Since that heart, goodness gracious, I can't talk. Since that thought bubble has plenty of room either above or below, you can add a little heart accent there. Even a stamped heart accent would be really cute. I've already adhered it, so adding a dimensional one was great, but I think those final little touches add so much to the overall card design. So we're just going to lay out a few here, like that little heart and the little moon. I want to get a little bit of my placement down before I secure everything in place. I'm using an embellishment wand and a little Ranger multi-matte medium to glue all of these down. I have to say the silver star confetti really add that touch of sparkle that goes with the background so well. The final thing we're going to do today is take some glossy accents, and I use a fine tip applicator on my glossy accents and draw over the letters yay so that they stand out, and it makes those black letters nice and glossy. I always like to make sure the tip of my applicator is nice and clean, so I put a little stream out on a scrap piece of paper first. And then we want to let that sit and completely dry. I think I let mine dry for probably an hour. Glossy Accents does dry pretty quickly. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this slim comic strip superhero card featuring March 2021 release Mama Elephant products. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring Mama Elephant little agenda images that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time.